There you go. Alright, I know I just did a stream and, well, evidently I had my mic muted. I'm gonna apologize for that. But right now, I'm kind of doing something a little different here. I have it set up to where I can see that on my monitor, plus cast it over to another one. So I got my nephew playing. While he's playing, I'm going to be going over a few things that I went over a few minutes ago, but like I said, I had my mic muted, so just watch him play. He's never played the game before. Um, and I'm going to go over a few things with you. The newest update, we have not figured out a whole lot of what it was about. It was a 3 gigabyte update, which is quite a big update. Now, we do know that as far as you see, it is no longer like flat ground. Well, not I'm going to say flat, but no trees. It just looks like a generic game, actually. They seem to have fixed that. Now you can see trees and grass and everything for quite a distance now. Well, I was glad to see that because I thought it was a rather generic version of a game. I'm glad they went in and fixed that. But however, I'm going to talk about a few things that we seem to be having trouble, me and the guys seem to be having trouble with on the game, and we're not quite understanding. One, the guy got on here, one of the creators of the game, and he talked about how the game was supposed to be close to realistic, and for the most part it is. And it's not a bad game, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy playing it, although we do get quite frustrated, me and the guys, because, well, frankly, some of the stuff is just driving us crazy. I want to go over the calling on the first thing. Using calls. That meter box that appears, we have no idea what that meter box is for. When you hit the call, you'll see a little thing going up across the bar. We have hit that at the beginning. We have hit it at the beginning of the big bar, the middle of the big bar, the end of the big bar, and clear at the end. And it really doesn't seem to do anything different. So I'm not understanding, well, we are not understanding what that bar is about. We have talked about it. We have tried to figure it out. So please, if you have any idea what that bar is about, drop me a comment and let me know, because I would love to know. Okay, and the other thing about the calls too is some animals are receptive to the calls and some are not. The elk is kind of iffy. I have called in some, don't get me wrong, and you know, I know a lot of animals going to come in the calls. So with the elk is kind of realistic, and that's awesome. The whitetail, calling in the does is pretty easy. But calling in a buck, oh, that's a little different story. And again, you know, I'm a whitetail hunter in real life. I am a hunter. I have hunted for many, many years, ever since I was 13, and I'm 51 now. So I have quite a bit of hunting experience with the whitetails, and you know, we even have black bear, and we have mountain lions, bobcats, all that. I am from West Virginia. Okay, we're going to talk about the mule deer now. The mule deer are pretty responsive to the call, even the bucks. Now, I am still working on leveling up my calls to level 3. I need one more call in, and I will have my 30, and then I'll have my level 3 calls. So I haven't hit level 3, so I'm not quite sure what that's going to do, but we'll find out. Other than they will be able to call in your mature bucks. You can already call in your mature bulls as far as elk. The moose are really responsive to the call, especially the cows. I mean, I can't tell you how many cows I've called in. I've called in a bunch. Okay. The other thing I'm going to touch on is the objectives, the task. I have spent days now hunting a 4-star level black bear or bigger. Now I have seen level 4 stars on my map. I have had two coming in one area, one coming to a feed zone beside the lake, and one coming to a drink zone beside the same lake. Now they were not together, they were separate. One was hitting the feed zone and one was hitting the drink zone, and they were there at the same time, so it's not the same bear. That's how I know it's different bears. But however, I found a need zone, 2 drink zones, 2 feed zones, 2 resting zones, and I sat on them for days. I'm talking, didn't even speed up the time. I left the time alone, and I sat there from daylight till daylight and nothing. Now I've done that on each zone. Not just the one, and I've done it on the rarely, I've done it on the often, and I even got in between the feed zones because they're pretty close together. And I used the call, and nothing. I even ran through the woods around that area where the need zones are and never even spooked a bear. So I'm not even sure whether there's a bear, even though the need zones are there, or there's a bear there, period. And the level 4s that I've seen, ever since I clicked on this objective, I haven't even seen them level 4s. I sat on them zones for hours and nothing. I seen a level 2 and a mature female. But the level 3 I seen there and the 2 level 4s I seen there, I did not see. Now we've been having this problem with the game. Every time we've clicked on an objective, it's like the bighorn sheep. Level 4 or bigger. Well, again, days spent hunting a level 4, and finally I said, forget this, I'm going to go to something else. And I went to shooting the goats, the mountain goats, and the hart. Had to harvest 3 of them. Well, in the process of doing that, not only did I run on to 1 level 4, but I ran on to a few level 4s and 1 level 5. So I went ahead and changed my objective real quick, and I shot the level 4 and finished the thing. We've been finding out that if you click on the objective or the task, that it seems pretty ridiculous on trying to get it accomplished. Now I have the story mode done. I just have 2 tasks left to do. One of them is the badger, level 4 badger or bigger, and I gotta take so many of them to get so many pounds of meat. The other one is a level 4 bear. Well, I cannot find a level 4 badger nowhere. You got 3 areas, big circles that you can hunt. I have been up and down that stretch numerous times, and I have looked at everything, and I had a level 3 badgers. I had 2 of them. So I thought, well, I'll let time go by and we'll see if they get any bigger. Well, they are still level 3, and we're talking days. So I'm not sure how long it takes to get the animals to get bigger. I know they are supposed to get bigger in the game as time goes by, and you're supposed to take out all the call animals, like, you know, your smaller bucks that are not going to make anything, or your smaller bulls, which I have been doing. I have been taking out the call animals, just trying to see what progresses out of that. Again, haven't seen any substantial bigger animals. It's like they're not growing like the game says they're supposed to, or whatever have you, or maybe not enough time has went by. Not sure on it. We have been trying to figure it out, and as soon as we figure it out, I will let you know on the time limit on that. The other thing is I want to see season changes. I want to see, you know, the leaves falling, the leaves changing colors, all that kind of stuff. If you're gonna make a realistic game, make it realistic. I'm not saying go full-fledged realistic, because it is a video game. But give us some season changes, you know? We're supposed to be in the Northwest on this map. Throw in some snow, I mean, whatever have you. And the other thing I want to talk about is the ring. They actually have thunderstorms on here that create lightning, and you can actually see the lightning bolt come down. I love that feature. I think it's awesome. And it does affect the animals' patterns and what they're doing. That is awesome. The other thing is, if you watched my stream a little bit ago, you would see that I harvested a whitetail, and the whitetail ran off, and it laid down, just like they do in real life, and it lay there until it expired. Awesome feature. I love it. Thrilled with it. Other than the flop at the end. Animals do not flop. They will roll over and just lay flat, and they will be expired. There is no flop to it. The big thing I'm going to touch on is the add-ons. Man, come on. Give us a tree stand. Give us tripods. Give us stuff that we can put up in the woods instead of having to go to these stands that, frankly, do not do much. I mean, there's some in the game that are in pretty good positions, but I want a tree stand where I can put it up in the woods and overlook a feeding zone or a bedding zone or whatever have you. And all animals are on a pattern. The only time they change that pattern is if they're jumped off that pattern. And I get it, but like that bear. Yeah, I was in the east zone, and I sat there. I never ever seen that bear, and I hit every zone that bear had. And the other thing I want to touch on is the tracks. The tracks are constantly on the ground. I want to see tracks that actually appear when the animal has just walked through there, or has been through there within, say, the last 12 hours. Not a constant track. Yeah, they help you find the need zones, but you're going to find the need zones anyway, because you're going to be walking through the woods. Put the tracks down to where if you run onto a track, you're going to know, hey, this bear's been through here, such and such. And, you know, I actually track whitetail in the woods. And I look at the tracks, and I can tell pretty much how long it's been since they've been there. Excuse me. The other thing I'm going to touch on too, and this is multiplayer. Multiplayer is absolutely junk on this game. We got on multiplayer yesterday, me and White King, and we were on his map, and yeah, I could shoot the animals, but I could not sell the animals, and some of them I couldn't even collect. And there seemed to be a lag on multiplayer. The animals' movements were all junk. There was not... Now, some might say internet problems. Well, no, it's not internet problems, because, well, I run 160-something download. And I run 30-something upload. And King runs 100-something download, and his upload is not as big as mine, but it's still decent. So it's not internet problems. It is an issue with the game. They need to really address the whole multiplayer thing, and they need to address the sleeping in multiplayer. You can't even use the sleeping to change the time. That needs to be addressed as well. The other cool feature I found, though, is like in the Hunter Call of the Wild, you both can have your own Jeeps out. Although I would like to see a four-wheeler in the game. You got animals walking around, y'all hear them. You got animals walking around, y'all hear them. It's a deer. It's to your left. Left. Yep, around in there somewhere. Pull your binoculars up and start looking around. A little to the right. Go to the right. Look out a little bit. Yeah, he's in there somewhere. I heard him walking. To your right. Yep, right there. Go ahead and shoot her if you want. You may want to look behind her, see there's a buck though, but... Okay, remember to change your yardage because you're on 164. You want to put the picture left on your directional pad. Keep going. Right there. Now hit your L1 button. Get right on behind her shoulder. Crack off. Nice shot. Okay, she should be getting ready to lay down. And here's the feature I was talking about. Now watch. She's laying down. This is an awesome feature. An awesome feature. This is what they do in real life. She has not expired yet. Keep your scope on her. And there, you see the flop? The animals do not flop like that. They just roll over and lay down flat. Although the feature of them laying down is pretty cool. Okay, so now you see that one has expired. Again, you know, I'm not shooting the does on here unless they are abundance, but my nephew is playing the game for the first time, and it is my game. Like I said, I'm casting it to another TV so he can play it, and I also see it on my monitor as well. So, you know, let him shoot something that's the first ammo he's ever shot on the game. And, you know, just, this is the thing you do for the young ones to kind of get them involved in the game and get them interested. I understand that you want to do game management, and I have been doing game management, but it's not going to hurt for him to shoot one doe. Yay for my nephew. Good job. But now back to the multiplayer thing. It needs addressed, and it needs addressed quickly. There is major issues with the multiplayer, and they need to touch. Now, I understand this game was cheaper than like the Hunter Call of the Wild, and I have quite a bit of money in the Hunter Call of the Wild because I have every map pack, I have every add-on. I love the game, so therefore I bought everything for the game. I got the game when it first came out, and I have played many hours on it. There's stuff that I really like about this game, and there's stuff that they really need to add. I don't care if they charge money for it and make it a pack like they did in Hunter Call of the Wild, but we do need tree stands in the game. We do need tripods in the game. And like I said, you know, changing of the seats, even if you have the tree stands where you have to go out and hang them, you know, put them in your Jeep, take them out, hang them, and then you'll be able to hunt from them instead of just carrying them with you. I don't even care if they go with that option because that would be realistic. There have been many times where I've carried tree stands in the woods and put them up before time I did scouting. And I located the animal, and that's the other thing I'm gonna touch on. Scouting. Like them bear. I seen them bears come in that zone, them level 4s, and now all of a sudden they're not coming in, period. There's no excuse for it. They should come in. And the other thing I'm gonna touch on too that we have noticed, and it's because there's a cabin that sits on a big lake. I can't remember the name of the cabin right yet, but it sits on a huge lake. Well, if you go in and adjust the time and you come out of the door and, well, there's nothing there. You go in and you adjust the time, you come out of the door, and all of a sudden you see them just flop down like they're falling from the sky. That shouldn't be. I mean, animals have patterns. They're going to come in there. You know, they shouldn't just fall from the sky. I mean, if you adjust the time, they should be there, unless you spook them off and run them off their pattern. And whitetail are famous for it, especially your bucks. If a whitetail gets spooked a couple of times, 3 times, off its pattern, that whitetail buck will not travel that path for quite a while. He will find new ways to come into that need zone or whatever have you. But he will still appear at that need zone, or he'll go nocturnal. They are famous for going nocturnal here in West Virginia once hunting season starts. I mean, not saying you won't see them through the day, but more or less they're going to be feeding of a night. Now, I'm not saying add that feature to this game because, well, I'm not a big fan of hunting of a night. And I think the need zones on this game, as far as the whitetail, well, the whitetail are going to feed of a morning, and they're going to be doing it by walking through the woods, eating on acorns, or in the field eating grass or something like that. They're not going to specifically have an area unless you have a feeder out. They're just going to meander through the woods on their path and eat as they go along. And then they'll have areas like where the acorns are abundant that they'll spend time, or crab apples or whatever have you. You know, the need zones on the game, I think, are okay. I'm not a big fan of the need zones. I think in hunting in real life, if you find a path, you follow the path and it will lead you to their bedding areas or whatever have you. And you just, you know, you can sit on them. I'm not a fan in real life of hunting bedding areas. I stay completely out of them. Excuse me. To me, that is the animal sanctuary. And back here, we do not hunt the bedding areas. We leave the bedding areas alone. That's one area they feel safe. And we're going to leave them alone and let them stay there. However, we do hunt their drinking zone, and we do hunt their feeding zone. And, you know, like I said, we just put up a tree stand on a path and wait for them to come down the path. We do that quite often. And I do use calls in real life, and I am quite good at it. And, you know, there are some things on the calls, like that meter box, that we just really do not understand at all. But all in all, this is a good game. It was a cheaper game. You do not pay as much for this game as you did on Call of the Wild. But there's so much that can be done with this game that we would like to see added to the game, because the graphics on this game is absolutely awesome. They have worked on the animals. They have worked on the animals' movements, although there still needs to be some tweaking on the animals' movements as well. The animals' movements, animals will run off, yes. But on this game, they are like a bolt of lightning. They are gone. That is not how it is in real life. I can take and run onto a herd of whitetail, and I can jump them up. And I can actually follow them through the woods with my scope. And if I see one I want to harvest, I can actually follow through the woods and harvest. On this game, they are gone. I mean, they move so quick, it's unreal. You just cannot stay on. You cannot follow them. They need to slow down the animals when they're running off, and they need to change the distance in which they run off to. The animals are not going to run that far. It all depends on the level of what they're spooked. If they're slightly spooked, like if we're creeping through the woods, they're only going to go a short distance and then they're going to stop. They're not going to run 400 yards away. Now, if you're running through the woods or you're breaking limbs and whatever have you, which they don't do on this game, and that's something else I'd like to see adjusted, all these logs on the game, you just walk through them. That is not how it is in real life. We either have to step over them or go around them. And the rocks on this game, I can step on the rock and step over it. On this game, you actually either have to jump or you have to go around it. Those are things that we need or would like to see changed. However, they are not a big issue. It is not a big issue about the logs walking through them. It is not a big issue about the rocks. Those are things that we can deal with. However, getting stuck on a tree and can't move, now that is an issue because you have to fast travel back to a lodge or a campsite, and therefore you have lost wherever you are gone. And you have to start over. Now, me in real life, I have leaned against so many trees and just stood there and hunted by leaning against that tree more times than I can count in my years of hunting. And I have never got stuck on a tree. Come on. Address this issue, fix this issue, please. Now we're going to bounce to a few other things on the game. Like I said, they have addressed the distance in which you can see, and we tested it out yesterday. You can see animals out there to a good distance, and that is an awesome feature. You don't have that in Hunter to Call of the Wild. You do, however, have it on this game, and we love it. The scope and stuff on this game are also the plus of the game. You can see for a great distance with the scopes on this game, which is what it's supposed to be like in real life, as different from the Hunter Call of the Wild, where you can't see very far at all. You can go ahead and fast travel somewhere else if you want, little dude. As you see, I still got quite a bit of black area that I need to fill in, but all my question marks are taken care of. I know I'll find more needles as I fill in them black areas, but we'll get to them black areas some other time. But all in all, this is a good game. They just need to address a few things and get them taken care of. And it'll make a better experience, not only for us experienced hunters, but for the newcomers coming in, and like your young ones, like my nephew here, that I'm letting play the game. You want to be able to get people's attention, and you want to be able to keep the attention span of a young gamer, as like my nephew. He's not going to want to go and sit in the stand for hours, although that is how it is in real life. So tweak it a little bit and kind of go, like partial for all. You're going to want to involve the young ones into this game, because eventually, us older folks, well, the game is not going to stick around for a whole long time. I've been gaming for many, many years. Started gaming when I was a kid on the Atari. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to stop gaming, because I absolutely love gaming. And, I got into streaming because my guy I game with said, hey, you're pretty good at this stuff. You need to start streaming and showing people and, talking to them, because you have quite a bit of knowledge about it. That's how I got into streaming. And I do got quite a bit of knowledge about hunting. I do got quite a bit of knowledge about sports, because I played sports as I was a kid and growed up. And, your racing games on the systems, I've got a lot of racing games, so I got quite a bit of knowledge about them too. And I stream them all. I got golf games, whatever have you. But give this game a little tweak for the kids. Let them be able to sit in the stand and use a call without having any issues of, am I doing this right or whatever have you. Not saying make it completely easy, because there are those of us who love a challenge, and you do receive a challenge in this game, and I do find that awesome. Just make it just a little easier. Your noise levels, I love the fact that you can't run on this game because you will spook everything within the next county. Where the hunter called the wild, and as you've seen, everybody flying around. Well, that ain't how it is in real life. This is more realistic as far as your sound. Awesome. Keep that. Do not touch that. Do not fool with that. But do it just a level of the spookism, like on the wolves. Your wolves are not going to spook. They're a pack animal. They hunt. On this game, they run. They don't come in and check you out and growl and threaten you. And your bear, yeah, the black bear are more or less apt to, avoid any conflict with humans. But there are occasions where a black bear will attack a human. You don't have that feature on here as well. So those need to be implemented into the game. Again, we're talking about realism. The creator said that excuse me. The creator said they wanted to make a game that was real. Had a realism feel. Well, they've got a good start to the game, and they do quite a bit. Just walk, little dude. Don't run. This ain't like the Hunter Call of the Wild. You will spook everything off if you run on this game. But, they got a good start. Don't get me wrong. Good game. I like playing it. Just a few things need to be tweaked, and we would love to see the add-ons of the tree stands and the ground blinds and stuff like that, and even throw in a four-wheeler. That's the way you're not driving that big bulky Jeep around. You can just hop on a four-wheeler. I use a four-wheeler in real life, and most people, I'd say 98% of people do use four-wheelers. I'll put in a four-wheeler. It's not going to take much to add this stuff to the game, and it'll add to the realism of the game. Again, they have really strived on how the animals look. They have done an amazing job on the graphics of the grass and the trees. And I'm going to touch on the 100 cents thing. I do not like the fact that you constantly have to have it on for your binoculars to pick up what it is, what type of animal, what size the animal is, all this, and I don't like the fact that you have to have it when you're using your scope to be able to adjust for the windage and the range. And the other thing I'm going to touch on too is when you pull up your binoculars and you're actually looking at an animal and you say you got like a pack of wolves and they're all together, you're going to see that thing that's trying to read what that animal is just going to keep flickering. Flicker, flicker, flicker. It never picks up on the animal. And when they're walking through the woods, it does not pick up on the animal. The trees interfere with the signal. Therefore, you're fighting to see what it is. Now, if you're just on the game hunting to hunt and shoot whatever you see, hey, that's going to work for you because you don't even need your binoculars. But when you're trying to do herd management and you're wanting to shoot the call bucks and you're wanting to shoot, just a lesser animal, so the bigger ones have more opportunity to grow and get bigger, then it becomes an issue. And the 100 cents also, push your triangle button, little dude. It turns your screen dark. I don't want that dark. I got my sensitivity on my light adjusted up so I don't have to worry about it. I can see easier with it. When you turn on that 100 cents, it turns everything dark and your edges get blurry. You do not see as crisp with that. See what I mean? It kind of changes the graphics of the trees and stuff, and I don't feel that it should affect them. That 100 cents should be nothing but for finding need zones. And, okay, so binoculars. 100 cents goes to a type of animal. That's fine, but don't make it the worst changing the graphics of the game. You want to be able to see as easy with it on as you do with it off. It will make a better experience for those who are hunting and whatever have you. But there are some things that need to be changed in the game. As you see, he's hung up on a rock, and he literally has to jump over to where in real life you can just step up on that rock and step over it. Now, Hunter Simulator 2, you can just step up on the rock and step over it. They use the same real engine as what this game uses here, so why there's a difference in it, I have no idea, but there is. If all these game makers like the Hunter Call of the Wild, the Way of the Hunter, Hunter Simulator would actually get together and talk, they would make an amazing game. If you take the good stuff from this one, and the good stuff from that one, and the good stuff from that one, you would have an amazing game. Or if you would just talk to a hunter and get his input on things, you would have an amazing game. Get an elk hunter, get a whitetail hunter, get a bear hunter. Get these guys in and talk to them and find out what all is fact and what is fiction, and implement it into the game. I know you can't go full-fledged on realism, but still, there's a few things that will make this game quite enjoyable, and that would be, the tree stands, the movement, the rocks, and all that. But anyhow, I will be streaming again in a little bit. Again, this is Crosshairs Paul and Mike. If you like what you see and what you hear, please just hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I thank you for watching my streams. I hope you enjoy them as much as I enjoy bringing them to you. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.